Hello and welcome to Tuesday Talk. My name is Achil Khan. I'm the director of Project Open. For those who haven't tuned in yet, Project Open is a multi-county grant aimed at addressing social determinants of health. And the consortium is made up of members from law enforcement, courts, transportation, education, social services, behavioral health, healthcare, and many other organizations in between. And the first social determinant of health that we wanted to attack revolved around substance use disorder and addiction. And Project Open is a federally funded grant aimed at addressing addiction from the lens of prevention, treatment, and recovery. And you've been hearing those themes throughout the previous Tuesday talks. Today, we're really focused on the recovery side of things and more so about public awareness and education and outreach. And that is where RecoverCon, a very large conference coming up next weekend, actually, or the following weekend, is happening. And with us today is the executive director of Sauk Valley Voices of Recovery, Gerald Lott, who's also the founder of RecoverCon. And we're really excited to have Gerald join us today to kind of talk about what is RecoverCon, where did it come from, and any other pertinent logistics for those who are interested or those who are hearing it for the first time. So, Gerald, welcome to the show.
Hey, man. How are you?
I'm good. Gerald was actually on our first Tuesday talk, kind of talking about everything you think you know about addiction is wrong. And we showed a TED Talk from Johann Hari where he talked about the opposite of addiction is not sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection. And that kind of just set a whole bunch of things in motion. So, Gerald, walk us back in history and talk about how that TED Talk and that video has kind of led us to where we're at today and where RecoverCon is today.
Yeah, so I'm a transplant to the area. I've been here since I think 2011 or 12, something like that. And coming in as an outsider in recovery, and looking for my tribe, so to speak, the other people that are sharing this same experience. It was frustrating. Like I have no other word for it. This area, entertainment and leisure time seems to be built around drinking. And, in my case, if I start drinking, it leads to drugs, and I did not want to do that. And so, I'm trying to find where people like me are. I'm going to, different 12-step meetings and such, and there just wasn't a lot going on. And so I kind of took it upon myself to start building some of that stuff myself, and eventually, ended up working with Project Open and a couple other organizations, and we found a lane, and so that's kind of where we sit now, doing this on a full-time basis, and as such, September is National Recovery Awareness Month, and first I just want to make mention that over this past weekend we saw an uptick in activity with our work in terms of people asking for help, but we also nationally saw some national figures lose their battle with addiction, and so I say rest in peace to those people, but I also say this is a situation that can affect anyone, and so it's something that we take very seriously, and so when we realized that we're going to be doing this, and September is National Recovery Awareness Month. A couple years ago, we did a memorial walk and event in September, and then we came back around and we said we're going to want to do a big event in September of 2021, and what I had envisioned as big when I spoke to you, Akil, and a few other people, it was always like, oh, well, could we go any bigger? And since we had said that we wanted to kind of focus our recovery community effort around this Johann Hari talk, we said, well, let's see if we can get him. And we reached out, and lo and behold, he was available and said he would come. So that was kind of the start, and it just got bigger from there. It's like, okay, well, got him. Now who else can we get? We have now 35, I think, speakers altogether. We have 15 or 16 people will be doing my lived experience talks in addition to those 35. We have almost 300 people have registered so far. We will be doing it as a hybrid event, virtual and in person. We've got an American Ninja Warrior coming to show what he's doing, to show people how to movement and physical health plays into this. We've got somebody coming from Chicago to do a drum circles. It's awesome. I'm super amped up because this is what I've been looking for: is where are my people? Where are people that feel and believe the same things I do?
Yeah. And for those who, just a little bit of background, when Gerald was mentioning people reaching out for help, Gerald's organization, Sauk Valley Voices of Recovery, is a recovery community organization that is partially funded by Project Open as well as Rush University and a couple other entities. And they help people who are struggling with addiction find treatment, a variety of forms of treatment, and then post-treatment help them with their recovery support, recovery coaches. And Gerald, through COVID and the pandemic, there's been a rise in the need for services. Gerald mentioned his lived experience, and that peer support is unparalleled. And later on in our episode today, we are going to bring in somebody else with lived experience who's also a big voice and leader in our show. But we'll save that teaser here for just put that teaser out there for right now. Gerald, you mentioned about 30 speakers. Can you kind of give a little bit of background on the variety of topics or kind of the domains or industries, like who would want to come to this event?
I think everybody should come, but that's just me. But if you're in recovery, then you want to come. There's going to be support meetings. One of the problems that I found when I came into the Sauk Valley was that you ever heard the joke, we got both kinds of music, country and Western. So It was kind of like, we got all recovery. We got NA and AA. And, there's so much more going on in this space. And it just, we got to find, you just need 2 or 3 people and you can start the nucleus of something. And so, NA, CA, Heroin Anonymous, Families Anonymous, Celebrate Recovery, Credo. There's, just a myriad of these things, Dharma Recovery. And so we're going to try to see which of those we can throw seeds out and catch root. So that would be for people in recovery, as well as people that want to see kind of what's going on in the rest of the world. We've got Alexa Bimnista. She's got an organization out of Connecticut. They get donations from major companies and organizations, and they take people who are new in recovery out and do activities that those people would not have taken themselves to. Take them to a NASCAR race, take them to a Red Sox game, take them on a trip to Jamaica, whatever, whatever she can do, because we know that people who are living to fill a pipe or to fill a syringe generally don't take the money to go to a Red Sox game and get the hot dog and enjoy it. And that's part of what living is, is enjoying your life. If I wake up every day and life is a struggle, I'm probably going to use, Mm-hmm. But so she provides them that. We've got a bunch of different people that are more medical and in nature that can talk about some new techniques and in how this disease is being treated. We're going to have Sinisippi offering hourly Narcan training to show people how to treat an overdose. We've got, I'm looking at this long list. We've got Representative Maurice West from Rockford coming to do a political panel on things. Michelle Knight and Ed Treat are going to be talking about the spiritual side. They are Lutheran ministers. Shatterproof is coming. Shatterproof is a national organization. They're going to be doing a Shatterproof challenge. Every September, they do a fundraiser that is stronger than addiction, and they challenge people to do something that, is outside your comfort zone. It's something for everyone.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm hearing. Something for everyone. You talked about a room of just lived experience, so people in recovery could pop into that, or people who aren't familiar or want to understand the story. develop that empathy, could pop over there. Kind of looking.
Yeah,
at,
but bring a tissue because it's going to tear you up.
Yeah,
man.
no,
it's going to tear you up.
I've heard some of them, and I can definitely co-sign with that statement right over there. It's definitely an emotional experience. Yeah, I'm looking at the agenda. We've got folks who are there's something for people who are in the medical field. There's something for people who are on the courts. There's something for people who,
Doug Marlowe. Yeah, Doug Marlowe is he is one of the heads of the National Association of Drug Court Professionals. He'll be speaking about how they handle, I forgot what they call it when they give rewards or they give punishment for people that are on drug court. I forgot the technical term that they use.
Measures.
Yeah, but it's more like restrictions and reward or something like that. We've got a couple recovery comedians. I see them there. We've got Luke Thompson, who we'll be talking to later. We've got movie screenings. I got a guy that wrote one of the latest episodes of the show American Gods and had a movie he produced with John Cusack years ago that we're going to show the movie, and then he's going to do a Q&A. I mean, it's just like I said, it's something for everyone, and the goal of it really is to build a tower so big in Dixon that the world has to look at us. And from there, we can then pull what we need from it, because this area, the Sauk Valley, is just being decimated by drugs. It's horrible. And it's easy to look at Chicago. It's easy to look at the Quad Cities, Peoria, Rockford. I think this area is just as important. And I think that we can do some things to make this the center of recovery in Northern Illinois. And so that's what we're going to do. And hopefully this goes well. And then next year, 2022, it gets even bigger. And, and it just keeps growing, and that's the goal. And so this year it's free.
Talk about that a little bit, Gerald. The quality of speakers, the amount of different options, and I mean, what was the inspiration behind making it free?
To be honest with you, I considering COVID and what it's taken to get people out of the house, and the fact that people aren't used to coming to this area, I felt like rather than try to make a buck, I'd rather make sure that people came and saw and spent time. Hopefully, my goal is people from Chicago come out here and they spend some time and they're in recovery and they say, you know what, this would be a great place to retire. And, I'd like to bring my 32 years of sobriety into this area and then start boosting up the meetings and start making the world less dependent on booze, man. Everything that somebody invites me to do in this area takes booze. You want to go hunting? We're drinking out in the woods. You want to go boating? We're drinking on the water. You want to go hiking? We're drinking, walking through the woods, but not killing anything. It's always we're drinking. You want to go play golf? We're drinking. I need some people around me that don't want that. So that was, selfishly, that's the goal, to attract people. And I love this area. It's beautiful country. I think when people get out here and they see this part of the world and realize, wait a second, I'm only an hour and a half outside of Chicago, and I could live here along the Rock River. But we want that to be people that share our values. I would never take anything from anybody that drinks. My wife likes a glass of wine. I'm not anti-drink. I'm anti-substance use disorder.
Right.
And,
but it, for folks in recovery, sometimes, especially short-term recovery, being in situations where it's not always revolving around substances is very important to sustaining recovery. So I can totally, your likes attract likes. And so, you're talking about the area, and so it's very important to note where this is. Sauk Valley Community College, an awesome community college who donated space for the
Yes,
event.
sir.
That's also was able a big reason that helped it free of charge. We've got a number of sponsors over here. Joe, do you want to talk briefly about some of the sponsors that also helped offset, the cost that allowed it to be
Yeah.
sustainable for no charge?
Shatterproof came through with making sure that the world at large knew what we're doing. They sent out to 65,000 people, young people in recovery. These are two national organizations that jump behind us, but then on a more local level, the Dixon Police and the sheriff got involved and said, "Hey, we want to put our money where our mouth is. We believe in this." LSSI and Mississippi came to the table with not only money but support and love and have been involved. Above and Beyond CRCC, which are organizations out of Chicago, Perfectly Flawed, which is down towards LaSalle, Peru, Rush University. I forgot to mention that if you are in those, so that white writing up there at the top, there were CEUs that are being offered for people that are nurses, therapists, counselors, recovery support, social workers, etc. All of that is through Rush University's medical center. And then there's just been a ton of other sponsors. We're going to have 30 booths of organizations, some of which are recovery oriented, some of which are vendors and that sort of thing. It's going to be like this giant festival. I mean, it's a party with a different kind of DJ,
Yeah. And I think now would be a good time. You mentioned the Perfectly Flawed Foundation as being one of the sponsors, and we are very, very lucky to have with us today Mr. Luke Thompson, who is the executive director of the Perfectly Flawed Foundation. Luke, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Akil? Gerald?
Doing well. Luke, I was wondering for our listeners, if you don't mind giving a little bit of background about yourself, your organization, and then we'll get into why you wanted to get involved in RecoverCon.
My name's Luke Thompson. I was a familiar face in a small town, and I was also I had a pretty chaotic heroin addiction over 14 years. I was our community is about 8 to 10,000 where I'm at, but we're in an area they call it the Illinois Valley, Starved Rock region, of towns of 500, 800,000. 18,000 is our largest town. But I was a familiar face. My family owns a popular restaurant. It's an Italian restaurant that's been in business for over 100 years. I worked there my whole life as a busboy, as a bartender. So people knew who I was. Everybody eats, plumbers, doctors, electricians, teachers, nurses, everybody eats. And then I was also a technology director for the local grade school district. So I knew a lot of families and parents through that. Then I also did some independent IT for a lot of local area businesses. So, but I hid that addiction, pretty well. I was pretty isolated. I would check myself in and out of rehabs over the course of the 14 years, on spring breaks, on Christmas breaks. And while I was at a retreat, it wasn't really a rehab, it was a retreat. It was in 2015. It was in upstate New York, kind of, in a small town, far away from home. I got a call that my friend had overdosed and died. He was also a bartender at the restaurant with me as well, and that's when I decided I had to come forward with my story, really to combat stigma. At first my mom was nervous about me coming forward. She runs the restaurant. She's always at the front counter. And, I think it was just stressful to her with all the stigma that comes with addiction and drug use. So when I was there, I was wanting to come forward with my story before Ryan died. And she said, well, how about we just talk to our close friends and, family and stuff like that. And, it was just a monkey on my back. I didn't want to have to hide it anymore. But I wanted to respect my mother and her space. But then when Ryan died, that was it. I came forward with my story, and really from there it began the journey of Perfectly Flawed Foundation. I started the Perfectly Flawed Foundation kind of journaling and writing about some of my experiences, checking in and out of rehab, and some of my because I never did like rehab. I often felt chastised. I felt I didn't feel like I was powerless. So I started writing about those experiences and searching about multiple pathways to recovery. I think it's not a one size fits all package. So that slowly transitioned into me starting to sell T-shirts to send people to the rehab or the retreat that I went to. But I found out really quickly you have to sell a lot of T-shirts to send someone to a retreat. So my friend suggested starting a nonprofit, which I didn't even know what a 501c3 was at the time. And I started the Perfectly Flawed Foundation. From there, we were able to garner a lot of community support. Our first event was an Earth Day event to show that anybody, regardless of their past, can make a difference in their community. This year was our 5th Earth Day event. We cleaned up a ton of trash on the Illinois-Michigan Canal. But now it's anybody can make a difference in their community. I took out the regardless of their past, because that's stigmatizing in itself. We all have potential within us. And from there, I built it to, I have a great team of 7 now. We do a variety of things. I work with advocacy throughout the state with some great advocates trying to reduce the barriers to recovery. We have local service delivery in our area. We have a mobile wellness unit now that we got via a grant. And I got a wonderful team that works with us on that. That meets people where they're at and delivers harm reduction supplies, syringe services, naloxone. We get naloxone into the hands of those that are most likely to use it, which are active users, people who might not come forward for help in the typical settings, just to prevent people from dying. And then, from there, we have a smart recovery support group. We have a smart family and friends support group starting up in October. And we're just here to be a trusted open door within our region of the state, and let people know that, we're here for them. We're not going to tell them what they have to do, what they need to do. We're going to be that trusted open door. And when you're ready for help, if you want services, if you need help, whatever that is, we're here when you're ready. So
I love that phrase, trusted open door. That is so awesome. I think that is exactly what when I was out using, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah. Someone you can trust that's not going to judge you, that's not going to shame you. We demand perfection out of the most vulnerable population. Stop using drugs and alcohol, then we'll get you help for using drugs and alcohol. We believe that you can get people help before that. People don't need to end up in handcuffs or emergency rooms before we start offering them help. So and just, and oftentimes people are stigmatized and shamed in those environments, and they don't come forward for help. So trust it.
What you do down there's a model that you've built that is very important, and we're going to have a dedicated Tuesday talk just for what the Perfectly Flawed Foundation does and all the services and kind of what other communities it can do. But when Gerald approached you about RecoverCon and kind of showed you what it was, I'm very, very interested to know what went through your mind about should we get involved with this? What is it? How big is it? What's the importance of it? I mean, why are things like RecoverCon important, and why do you want to be involved with it?
Well, I think the awareness is huge. The people are dying, and it's not slowing down. Between 2019 and 2020, overdose deaths went up, 30% across the nation. From it was 75,000 in 2019 to 93,000 in 2020. So people are dying, and people don't think that drug use or addiction or overdose death impacts them, but it has a huge impact on the community. They're when one person dies, it affects so many people. It affects their children, their family, their friends, and it just leaves a gaping hole in that network of friends, of grief, of trauma. And you look at the multi-generational impact that we have, people being incarcerated, people being taken away from their families, their children growing up without life skills, without any parents in their lives. It's traumatizing, and it has that multi-generational impact. So, I didn't hesitate to jump on board when Gerald reached out regarding RecoverCon. It's so important. This impacts everyone. And for people to learn about some of the solutions and some of the organizations out there that are taking some, bold moves and coming up with different strategies. I think it's important to get those strategies out there, get those groups out there, and really be there to support people who we've criminalized and we've shamed in the past, and just starting the conversation and keeping it going. Obviously, August 31st is Overdose Awareness Day, which it's tough. It's you see the grief, and that doesn't leave. So then from there, rolling into Recovery Month, I think is important. And it's hard to jump from all the overdose deaths straight into recovery, but it's important that we show that people can turn the direction of their lives around, and we're here to support others. So
I think that was the biggest thing behind it when Gerald approached me about the concept. There's been a number of events that have happened, small one-off events, but Gerald said it right. You build a tower tall enough, that's awareness right there.
Yeah,
people will see from far away. And when Gerald, you've got RSVPs from out of state, even, right? Indiana and Iowa,
California. Well, the thing is, now that we've got the virtual option, which we haven't even discussed, but are you able to get onto the Hoover to show what that looks like?
If I go to the virtual exhibitor hall?
Yeah. So now you've got the ability for people anywhere in the world to log in and, see the people there's our list of exhibitors, and, they'll be able to interact with those people. They'll be able to watch my lived experience, and they'll be able to watch the presenters. And, it's just so amazing what technology is. Like you see that one there, Oxford House. That is a national organization of recovery and sober homes that have taken out a booth. And so if you'll click on Oxford House there, that one, yep. There's their booth, and it shows their website, their booth number 17, and then you can go right in and you can see where their homes are all over the country. And that's going to be, the thing is, that Hoover site is going to be up through the end of the year. People will have access to this through the end of the year to dig into these recovery-friendly workplace. Can you click on that one?
Yeah.
And then that takes you to the Project Open Recovery. And then you're not even seeing the booth the way that a client would see it or somebody else would see it. It's way cooler because there's a video attached to it and all sorts of stuff. But it's just, it's worldwide now. It's worldwide, and it all is coming from right here in the Sauk Valley as the hub, as a place to say, we take this seriously and we want to be a part of the solution. And we've been leading since, Danny Langloss and those guys got Safe Passage going. We've been leading, and I just really wanted to take our place there and say, hey, we're going to push this thing. And so look at all those different people that came, when we called. And I know that next year there's going to be more.
So you bring up that, Sauk Valley was a leader in what Joe was referring to as the Safe Passage program. It's the second police deflection program in the country, which is why our local law enforcement are big supporters of RecoverCon. You brought up the ability to join virtually. Gerald, do you want to talk a little bit about, we're still doing our best to maintain an in-person option, but we are very aware of COVID and what's going on with COVID. We know that there's some limitations with COVID, and there's vaccination, unvaccination status, negative test. You want to kind of dive into, give folks a sneak peek as to
Yeah,
what we're doing to keep them safe?
yeah. I mean, we all know that person to person is best, and if you look at what Johan Hari talks about, it's all about connection. And this last year and a half, connection is the first thing that's been challenged. So we're fighting like you wouldn't believe to get to a place where we can, but we do have to look at what reality and what the state is saying. And so masks will be required, and to enter into the facility, the college is asking that you present either proof of vaccination status or a negative test within the last 7 days. So, anytime after Sunday of this week, go to urgent care or whatever, get tested to show that you that you are negative, and you come on down. You bring us a slip or paper or whatever. I know some people are against what they call passports, but it is what it is. It's like the one that you had to show to get on the football team in 8th grade. You've had your physical, but yeah, and so that'll be it. Hopefully, if somebody forgets, we'll have an option for them. But I'd really hope that everybody, just make a point to get a quick rapid test somewhere, and then bring your printout or whatever. Or if you've been vaccinated, bring that card, bring a picture of it on your phone, however you want to do it. But that's where we're at. I know that I've only had one of my presenters so far say that they think they're probably going to have to go virtual because of this. And that's somebody that worked in an emergency room in another city, and they just didn't want to bring emergency room germs cross country. But as of right now, all of my speakers intend to be here, including Johan, who is coming from London.
Thanks for that background there, Gerald. And that's just kind of the evolving situation that we're in right now, from it being totally in person to just needing masks to now vaccination cards. And we'll keep you guys up to date. It's very important that you go to the RecoverCon.com. I'll put that website up one more time. And RSVP, because by RSVPing, we're able to send out email updates, and also the Hoover app. So we added the virtual option to be able to do it virtually. And
am I able to share my screen?
I would have had to have pulled it up before, Gerald. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
Do you see at the bottom the share icon?
Let me take a look.
You might. I think you should be able to, actually.
Yeah, I do.
Hit that and find the screen. And let me know when you have it.
I'm working on it. Keep talking. Stretch.
What I actually wanted to ask Luke is it's important, Luke. Well, we totally understand now why it's important to you, right? And why Perfectly Flawed wanted to be a part of it, right? You're just south of us, 40 minutes away. You're creating your hub over there. We have our hub over here. The hubs talk, which is awesome, because in rural America, resources are limited. Gerald's talked about people coming from Chicago and Peoria and out of state. And my question to you is, for people listening, why should they care? Why should they be involved? And why should they try to come either virtually or in person?
Again, people are dying, and it's impacting your community, whether people realize it or not. And oftentimes people don't pay attention until it's too late, until they lose someone, until they lose a friend. And just equipping yourself with the tools, the knowledge, and the education is so important. I mean, drug use, addiction, it intersects at so many different areas. When you're addressing social determinants of health, you're looking at, the workforce, just everybody's impacted. The criminalization, the cost of incarceration versus getting people help and support.
Right.
When people are jailed, that's not getting them help. We have to really do some self-education and just being aware of, that we have to prioritize services for people like us.
You mentioned that before. Everybody's impacted, right? Whether it's a loved one or a friend or someone that they know and you know them.
Yeah.
Addiction and substance use disorder touches everybody, and so definitely is a conference for the masses.
Yep.
Joe, any luck there?
Yeah, I'm getting there. Just give me a second. Because I really want you guys to be able to see this and understand what it is that we're doing. It's important because people are not understanding. They're signing up, and then when they sign up, they think that's it. Well, no, it's not letting me. I'm frustrated now. It's not letting me. So just know that you have to sign up, and then you'll get this app, which will be on your phone. The app will show you the agenda. The app will allow you to communicate with other people. You'd be able to send a message to Luke prior to his panel and you'll read what his panel's about, and then you could send a message and say, hey, would you mind talking about X, Y, and Z? Or here's a question that I'd like an answer to.
Very interactive.
Very interactive. You can set meetups with other people. You can set up virtual meets with, if there's somebody who's in your field, you could set up a meet with them, to talk about what you guys are doing. I know that Mississippi has posted some jobs online. People can post photos. We have 3 rooms that'll be televised. Our auditorium, our lecture hall, and our founders room. But then we have other rooms where we'll be doing AA, NA, all those meetings, and there's a schedule of that on Hoover. So it's really, it's like this walking, it's the conference in your phone, and you'll be able to move around. You'll be able to go to this thing and then jump over there without having to ask anybody, from home. So It's really cool.
Essentially what I'm hearing is the conference has already started. People are on there. I've seen some of it. The comments are starting. The people are asking questions about ride sharing.
It really has.
Get in. And I've used this platform before. It's really cool. Avatar you can move around the conference hall, walk up to a booth, see a video from the booth, see their content, download things. You can go to the agenda, join the live stream in the founders room, or join the live stream in the auditorium. So for those who really want to be a part of it but don't feel comfortable coming in person, the Hoover app, go online to RecoverCon.com, recover-con.com, RSVP, get the app, and start to be able to check out the booths, ask questions, and then join the live sessions as they happen. And for those who are coming in person, we're going to be really excited to welcome you, and it's definitely going to be a lot of things going on, and we're going to try to make it as safe as possible. So,
yeah.
Joe, I think we're kind of if there's no other any major comments from Luke or Gerald, any closing comments about this?
Come to RecoverCon.
No, I look forward to seeing everybody, and just spreading the awareness and the education that people need.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, the closing idea over here is we look at long-term impact, and Gerald's talked about it, and as I talked to other people, kind of with from the outside, there's a major opportunity for other communities to use a platform like this to showcase their areas pro-recovery, that they are recovery friendly. Well, Project Open's working on a number of initiatives that some of them you'll hear about at RecoverCon, and the long-term impact of an event like this is at this moment it's tough to quantify, but we know it's going to be huge. We know there are going to be people who see the Sauk Valley area, that see Luke's area, and that can see other areas across the country that start to adopt this platform on this type of event, that they'll be able to see that they're pro-recovery and that the recovery can be sustained, and that there is a strong community of people in recovery. And the start is happening here. And, Gerald, myself, Luke, we're open to helping any other areas kind of plan events like this and just make the country a pro-recovery. And it all starts with awareness.
The big thing is that, you've got Luke with his 3 counties here and us sitting on top with our 3 counties. And there's somebody over here. We can bring all of them together and I don't have to reinvent the wheel, man. Luke's got some things going on down there that I will never be able to get even close to doing. So instead of me trying, I'm just going to partner with him. I'm I'm going to say, hey man, come to my house and do what you're doing, and hopefully he'll do the same, and both of us get bigger like that. And if we can do that throughout all of, man, Miss Carly, who's going to be speaking Friday night, is just doing amazing stuff up in Rockford. She's feeding like hundreds of people a night, and no funding. She's doing it on donations from churches, and I'm so excited to hear what her story, and and to create these synergies is really cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Luke, again, the Perfectly Flawed Foundation, visit theperfectlyflawed.org to learn more about that, especially if you're down in the central LaSalle County area. But they're not to give a sneak peek, but some of what Gerald mentioned, some of what Luke is really good at is going to start to branch out to more areas, and stay tuned for a future Tuesday talk about harm reduction. And again, Gerald Lott, Sauk Valley Voices of Recovery. If you ever need any support in our area up here in Northwest Illinois, svor.org, or visit your local police department, and they'll be able to pipeline you, and Gerald's team will be able to help you. And then lastly, the Project Open, a large multi-county grant addressing social determinants of health, kind of just putting all the pieces together. We can't afford to duplicate the wheel or expend resources unwisely. And so, again, Luke and Gerald, thank you so much. Very, very excited for RecoverCon. We hope to see everyone else there. And this is Tuesday Talk signing off. Thanks, guys.
All right, boys. Have a good one. We'll see you next Friday. Two Friday.
All righty. All right.